Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Fanshobby. I think it's called the Meg-Tyranno. Whatever. It's the Armada Megatron. You guys know me. I hate those stupid third-party names, but... So here he is in his tank mode, and man, this thing is awesome. It's nice, big, it's got a nice heft to it. The treads do roll. It's got a heft to it, but I will say, though, when I first opened it out of the box, and maybe it's just because I'm getting used to, like, Fans Toys stuff, it's not nearly as dense as that, but it is a nice, big, hefty bot. So... I do want to point out these pieces here. So what these pieces are so inside of here, this kind of goes into the barrel, and this kind of went here, and then this piece went here, like inside. And what it was doing was it allowed like this to rotate and the cannon to move slightly. I removed it. It was... If you did one thing wrong with the cannon, those teeth would get... These teeth here would get slightly offset. And if they got offset, then you couldn't rotate the cannon. So this is a case of the gimmick hindering the figure. I felt that this rotating and slightly turning the cannon, or making the cannon go in just ever so slightly, was not worth it getting jammed up. And what you have to do when it gets jammed up, really, only one option. This whole thing is held on by a screw back here. So you have to angle it a certain way, unscrew this, take this whole piece off, unscrew 5 screws off this, and then take this piece here in half. And then from there you're able to get in there and readjust those teeth. So I felt it wasn't worth it. And as you can see, it still works fine. The barrel doesn't lock in as well as I'd like, but... like, because these would actually lock into this this gray piece here, like that. So you lose that. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that all works pretty well. Anyway, he also comes with this little mini-con. Rolls just fine. Sorry, work was texting me. Of course, I can't get a minute. Like, they don't text me all morning long. And then once I sit down to start doing a video, they're like, hey, do you remember this one thing that happened like 6 months ago? It's like, oh my god, really? Really? You gonna do this now? Anyway, but anyway, this guy rolls fine. But the biggest part about the teeth and stuff in there is it does not hurt the figure not having them in there. So anyway, so yeah, he rolls fine. He rolls fine. Yeah, the treads move just fine. So I'm gonna take him out of the way, and we're gonna take a look at this guy. So I mean, obviously he's like a little car. And what you want to do is just untab these from the sides here, and these will fold back like this, and then you can take his arm out and fold that straight down. So it's kind of like that. And then same thing over here. And then this piece here will flip back. And that's pretty much it. Not much to really talk about here. Head is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit round. You can, I think, yeah, left and right. Shoulders, are they on ball pegs? Maybe. well, they're on ball pegs into the torso, so you get, you know, up and down, a little bit of rocker in there. Hinged elbow, ab crunch, forward and back. Hips are on ball joints, but there's no cut, so you don't get too much out, just a little bit. Little bit of a swivel there, bends at the knee, and that's pretty much it. So yeah. Overall, I like him. I think he's infinitely better than the little car that came with the Prime, and it makes me actually kind of want to see a whole line of the Minicons from Fanshobby. I would love to see the 3-packs. You know, I had a bunch of the 3-packs when they were first coming out, and at first I'm like, these things are stupid, but then after you get like 50 of them all on a shelf, it's like, okay, this is actually a lot of fun. Figure out all the different places you could put them and stuff on things that came out wrong. Oh yeah, yep. That's gonna stay with me for a while, isn't it? All right. So, let's talk about this guy in his tank mode. So this rotates side to side. I do wish that was a little bit tighter, because it seems a little loose, but it's not, because I opened it up. It's just because it's so big, it makes it seem like it's loose. This ratchets all the way up and down. That'll come into more play in robot mode. And then, like I said, the tank treads rotate. These little things pull out, which allow you to plug Minicons onto the side here. I am curious. I don't have any of the original Minicons anymore, but I am curious if they are compatible with the original Minicons. It seems like they might be a little too big, but again, I don't have anything, so I can't really tell you. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And I think that might be it. And then he's got some other action features, so let's get into those. So first off, we can open this panel here back. This will fold out. This folds out here. I'm using a little tool just because it gets a little tight in there. And then you've got this piece here will fold out, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what purpose that serves, but it is there. Oh, it might be like you put something here and you can just like... So yeah, there's that. Let's fold that back up. Fold this out, and from here you've got this little clawed weapon. In the original toy, it was meant to be like grab onto like a Minicon and then scoop it up, and he had big open cavities here where you could actually fit a Minicon in. Obviously that part doesn't translate into the figure, but I mean it still works to an extent. Let's see if I can close this up. Come on. There we go. Alright. So there's that one. We've got this panel here that will fold up. And there's this little piece here that'll come out. Fold that down. Then you can fold this out and out. I kind of wish, and this also could just be me, but it's like this will only go down to here. I kind of wish it would fold a little bit more flat, so like if it's laid on the ground, you could have a little car go up here. It's almost like that's what I was going for, but doesn't quite come out that way. You can fold this out. This is a little arm here, so you got the pinchers, and then there's a swivel, a hinge, a hinge, a hinge, and then this will just plug in, and I believe you just plug it into here. So you can kind of do stuff like that. Pretty cool looking. Works pretty well. Okay, what's next? Oh, let's put this back. I'm just going to set this off the side because this is actually something I'm not going to... Because it rattles around in there just a little bit. You can hear the one that's over here. Just ever so slightly. We'll get that one out too. I'm not going to display them like this, so... Right, so you fold this one out. And this one, what you do is you just slide this out like this. Now it's a little double barrel. You plug this in right here. This folds up. You could also plug it in this way, so it's just a turret, right? Kind of like that. It's not tapping in very well, but you get the idea. And then you can plug it in this way. And what you do here is you flip this little red piece out, and then there's two little panels in here that'll fold out, and then you can take your mini con and stand them in here, and so it's kind of like works as a little blast shield cannon, which is pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's them capturing something that was part of the original toy element, and it's something you don't see too often with the third-party offerings. Not something that I'm like, man, I really wish my such and such, you know, my fans' toys Minosaur would turn into a battle station mode. You know, it's just not something I really overly look for, but it's cool that they can incorporate it without it hindering the figure. Only thing that's hindered was this thing, and we already talked about that. This could kind of come up and become another blast shield too for mini cons, and then you could take this, and this will just flip out like that. This little handle comes out, and then you could like set a mini con in here. And now he's kind of like working the missile launcher here. Again, I mean, you could deck this thing fucking out with mini cons, which is, again, you know, would be a cool little feature if they started making a lot of mini cons with these guys. So yeah. Now let's see what else we got here. He's got a couple other little accessories, and then we'll get into the transformation. Let's see here. Plastic wrap stuck to the face. Alright. So we have an alternate face here. Just kind of like a stoic face. We'll get that in a minute. I think this is replacement eyes. I think. But we'll look at that more in a minute. And then he's got these four little missile pods, which I assume are going into here. And like that. And I'm not sure. Oh, I think we've got a launcher here, so. Let's see if we can launch some missiles here real quick. Oh, that hit me in the shoulder. And then we got another one. And that is gone. That is gone. Alright, so we got some oomph behind those. So that's pretty cool. I won't lie, I'm having some fun here. Alright. So we can lock this down, this folds back up, and you have to lock them together and they release together. So it's like this one you can lock by itself, but this one won't lock in without this. So it's like you kind of need both to lock it in properly, which is pretty interesting. Alright, and then setting him off to the side, we'll transform this guy one more time. So straighten out the arms, flip this over the head. Basically, we're going back to car mode, and there's a little tab here that fits into the slot here. Actually, I guess car mode you could do it this way. Maybe that's actually was the proper way, not so straightened out. Let's see here. Yeah. So this would be the real car mode here. Something along these lines. So I had it wrong at the beginning. I'm sure I got some shit for that, but who cares? I really don't. But to go to gun mode, you straighten those out. These will just lock in and lock into the legs. And these will just that. Everything really does lock in pretty good on this. And then you can flip out the handle like this. And there you have his gun mode. So I apologize for everybody out there that's hating me because I didn't flip the legs up properly. But there we go. Now let's get the big boy transformed, because that's what we're really looking for. Alright, so first thing we want to do is just pull this up. That kind of just gets that out of the way. Then we can untab these sections here and here. And then we can split the legs like this. And we just want to kind of straighten the legs out. From here, what we want to do is pull the foot down. And it rotates down like this. This panel here will come up, over, and in. And then the foot comes up. This comes back. And there's your foot. You can then take this panel here and fold this in. And this comes down like that. And that will come down like this. And then we can do the inside of the legs. Untab this. This will fold up. Tabs into place. Closes that up. He's got some really cool detailing. I think this is a sticker. Or some sort of decal. Because it doesn't quite look like it's painted on, but I can't get a grip on it to like peel it or anything. So, and then that all closes up. This is one thing. This is my biggest gripe about this figure is these. I wish that there was something that would come out and like, okay, and that's locked in, you know. But I'm not seeing anything that allows you to tab it in, so it just kind of sits there. So that's a bit of a bummer there. Not a big one, but it is one. All right, and then we do the same thing over here. So foot comes down. Pull this piece here out and around. Rotate down. Legs in, untab, up, in, close, and those are his legs. Not overly complicated at all for that. Lots of panels, but yeah, we get a lot of panel formers these days. Alright, now, untab these, pull these shoulder pads up and out. From here, we can then pull these pieces here out. They fold down, forming the hip skirts, and we can rotate the waist around. Untab these sections here, and then we can rotate these up. Fold these up all the way. Up all the way. And then this panel here will come back. And like that. So things kind of get in the way. It's a little tight in here. But you can get it just like that. Alright. Then this piece here will fold in like that, and this will come up like that. So in like that, up like that. From here we could then take these shoulders and they pull out of the body and then out to the sides, and then you want to give them a good push like that. These straighten out these little panels here and they will fold onto the chest, and then you kind of situate the shoulder pads how you want. But that is your Megatron in his robot mode. And you're going to rotate this up, and then you just kind of push it back in, and that kind of solidifies it a bit. But yeah, there he is in his robot mode. Yeah, overall, pretty interesting character. I mean, he's very true to the original design. Very, very true. The biggest advantage is the fact that his legs move. If you had the original toy, you know what I'm talking about. For whatever reason, his hips didn't move and his knees didn't bend back. They only bent inwards. And the hips only moved outwards. They didn't move forward and back. It was just such a bizarre thing for them to do. It just... whatever. Alright, posability. Let's talk about that right off the bat. So his head is on a ball joint, I believe. So you get the left or right, little up, little down. Nice metallic red eyes there. Let's see if we can switch the faceplate out. You could pull these off. I forgot to show those. So those are his antenna. Let's see here. We might have to actually get a screwdriver out for this. Okay, so the face comes off pretty easy. That's just on a tab. So you got this maniacal face and a stoic face. So I'm going to put the stoic face on just for variation, just so you can see the difference. There you go. And then, yeah, I'm going to say that these are the eyes. So he's got clear red eyes, because I think he does have a light up feature somewhere in a lot of this, including the barrel of the gun, which is cool. But what's really cool is the fact that they give us the red metallic red eyes and the clear eyes. I think that's what's going on here. Only one way to find out, really. Let's see here. Let me grab a screwdriver and we'll open it up real quick. Take a look. Okay. Well, that's stripping. Okay, there's one. Try a different size here real quick because I don't want to ruin this head. There's two. Pulling this apart. And yeah, so he's got, oh, so yeah, there's the buttons on the top of the head. That fell apart. So yeah, so that is a light up feature. So again, that's really cool that they include that as well as the metallic eyes that come stock, so you can do either. I hate it when it's one or the other. Or, I mean, well, like, with the light-up eyes anyway. Like, I really wish, like, the 3-0 Megatron, who's cool, but he only comes with the clear eyes. So I like the fact that you have that option. So we'll put that back together. Now that we know that is what it is. So that's the button right there to light up his eyes, if you want to go that route. I'm not going to go that route just because I like the metallic eyes better. Alright, so his head is on a ball joint, as we saw. So you got the little side to side, up, down. It actually feels like a double ball peg. Yeah. Definitely double ball peg from the chest into the head. And then he does come with another set of the head pinchers. So you got the straight one and you got the more curved one. So it's up to you which one you want to use. Let's put the straight ones on because he had the curved ones on earlier. And these just plug in here. Plug in here. And there you go. So, pretty awesome. I mean, I'm really liking this figure. Alright, so shoulders. So these things are on hinge, so you can kind of move them out of the way best you can. It's got a soft ratchet up to there. Back to there. It would go all the way around, but this is in the way. So, ratchet it out to the side. Bicep swivel. Double bend elbow, giving you the absolute full run there. Wrist swivels. Fingers have 2 points of articulation on each. So you get a pretty good range there. Thumb is on a ball peg. I almost want to say those thumbs look like they're backwards. Oh, and then you got another hinge moving the hand out. So you got, yeah, so you get a pretty good range of motion. But it's almost like these thumbs are on backwards, don't you think? What do you think? Like the flatter edge should be at the bottom. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And it's all a ball peg, so I do not want to try and pry that apart. So I'm just going to leave it as is. He does have these little blades that come out to the side, so if you want them with those, you could do that as well. He does have ab crunch, waist swivel, hip skirting gets out of the way, and then, so I have seen a couple people complain about this. So he's got this joint here, and it's the same piece on both sides, so they just recycled it. Normally I get really upset with that kind of like laziness or cheapness. It's like that must have saved him a penny or something like that in the mold, but at the end of the day, really? That's I mean, it's not going to bother you unless you're looking at a specific angle to look at it. Nice, solid ratchet knee, legs up, back, out to the side, thigh swivel, nice deep bend at the knee with a sculpted in piece that keeps it from looking wonky. He's got a foot swivel and rocker, and the toe can tilt down, tilts forward. This has on a hinge, this is on a hinge, so you can kind of manipulate this however you need to get him stable in a certain stance that you might want. And alright, and then you have some options on how you want to do weaponry. So you can take his gun here and just slide that into his hand, and that's on the same Make Toys type deal. Oh, I might want to see if we can rotate that head around. There we go. That looks a little better. Like that. There we go. Yeah, that looks better. So you got the gun there, or the way he's supposed to work this cannon is it's supposed to come down to the side, flip forward, and then here's his handle. This is on its own swivel. So you can swivel this up and just kind of manipulate his arm so that he's holding it like that and getting ready to fire it at people. And that's how he did it in the cartoon. It's a pretty unique, different take on that style. Although, I mean, at this point it's pretty old. What was this, 2000? When this figure came out. But, it's also better than having the giant barrels sticking straight up and eating up all your shelf space. This guy is going to eat up a lot of shelf space as it is. For size comparison, let's get our usual suspect here. Here he is next to Quick Blast and a Siege Megatron. So he's definitely more Masterpiece scale than I would put Chug scale. And then here he is next to their Armada Prime, which I have in his smaller mode, just so that you can kind of see. And that's pretty accurate, because he was bigger than Optimus until Optimus put on the armor, the trailer armor, and made himself bigger than the Megatron. And no, I'm not going to get the Mega armor out and armor him up, because that is in a box, and just not going to do that. But yeah, that looks pretty accurate to me. And here he is next to the Make Toys Megatron, so you can see him next to another Megatron. Thing always had problem with its feet. So yeah, that looks pretty good. And just because he's standing here he is next to the Fanshobby Scourge. So you can see how he looks with more Fanshobby stuff. Yeah, so he's got some die-cast in him, but he does not, and I don't think he does either. But yeah, all in all, I think it's a really, really good and fun figure. I'm thoroughly enjoying this thing. If Fanshobby wanted to do all the Armada characters, I would probably buy most, if not all. These guys are a lot of fun. I mean, I'm just having so much fun with this guy. He's a fun toy. That little hinge gimmick. I mean, I pushed it in a little too hard the first go round, and I think that's what set off the teeth, and I just couldn't get it quite right. So you have to kind of use kids' gloves around that. But past that, I think you're not going to have too much issue there. And that's the only real issue I have with this guy. I know people complain about that hip joint, but I mean, who cares? Come on, guys. I mean, let's just it's one little joint. I mean, remember the Make Toys Utopia, like everything was copied from left to right. So it's like there were screw holes in both sides, and it looked really, I mean, that was more of an eyesore because it was like the panels itself were copied as opposed to just little hinges or one little hip joint inside. All that being said, I think it is a great masterpiece version of Armada Megatron. Yes, the proportions are wonky. That's just how the figure is, though. I mean, that's how the character is. Yes, he's supposed to have a tank turret on his back, and the barrel flips around to the side. That's the character. That was how the character looked. That's what he did. Yes, he's got giant tank treads sticking off his shoulders. Again, that's what the character was. I mean, that was just the character. So it's like, I can't fault them for making a goofy-looking character when it is, in fact, true to the design that Hasbro made 20-something years ago. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, yes, it is goofy-looking, but if you get past that, it's a great figure. Great posability. Great solid joints. Plastic feels good. Treads move. I'm hard pressed to really find much wrong with this guy. And I think what it will really boil down to is if you had this figure as a kid and you liked it, even despite the fact that it was wonky and goofy and didn't work right, then you're gonna fucking love this thing. You know, you will love this thing. And I was one of those people that had the figure, as a young adult, I guess, technically. And it just brings back all those feels of when I first pulled this out of the box. I mean, it really does feel like the original figures, updated with modern articulation and ratchets and stuff like that. I mean, fuck, that original Megatron was such a piece of shit because of its articulation. All that being said, I really hope they do a Galvatron, because I think the Galvatron was the one I had, not the Megatron. I know I had the mold. No, I definitely had the Megatron too at one point. But I know originally I had just the Galvatron. He was the one I found, and he was on clearance, and I was hesitant to buy him because he did look goofy. And then once I had him out and messed with him for a while, I really did like the figure. So even with its problems, so this is just right up my alley. So yeah, I hope they do a Galvatron. I'd probably pose it with the different earpieces. I hope they do, the Starscream. I hope they do Thrust. I hope they do Hot Shot. I mean, I would love to see the entire line. And I would also love to see a lot of that line repainted for their Power Links options. And I would love to see more mini-cons. I just would love to see just piles of them. So, he's a different type of figure too than the Scourge. Like the Scourge definitely would fit more into your modern masterpiece collection. This is kind of like doing its own masterpiece. Like the plastic quality isn't quite the same as Scourge. It's not the same. It's like it's a little bit more rougher, which is fine with me. I mean, he shouldn't be standing there with like masterpiece Optimus Prime. He should be standing on his own shelf for Armada collection. So, anyway, I I just have to say, it's like I enjoy the fact that Fanshobby is making a line of figures, and they're making this line fit with itself, not trying to cram it down your throat into a masterpiece line. So it's like, yeah, as long as you are fully aware of that, like, this thing won't look great with your Megatron and Optimus Prime from G1, because he's not supposed to. So as long as you're okay with that, I think you've got a great figure on your hands. I'm done rambling. For a score, I have to give him a 9 out of 10. Despite all my gushing over the thing, the biggest fatal flaw this guy has is the fact that some of these panels, they don't lock in. And if they locked in, that would just make it that much better. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe there is a locker in there somewhere, but I can't seem to find one. And if it did that, then I think we would have a perfect figure. So yeah, I guess past that, I guess that's really it. So yeah.